Money back.
Chasom was here.
Welcome. Cheers, guys. This was an interesting start to the evening. What's the time check?
It's 12:40 a.m.
12:49
or something like that.
12:49. We were planning on starting like at 9.
Yeah.
So welcome to Chasom Was Here, episode 2, everyone. Episode 2.
Live, and we're live. I should point out we're live from the Eagle's Nest,
We're live from the Eagle's Nest. Here we
This is
are.
happening. This
Yeah.
is real. High above the city of Long Beach, from an ivory tower.
And this was not supposed to happen. So a little context before we introduce our guest is, so we were here, we met here at the Eagle's Nest. We were going to go down to the studio. And then John, our guest, said, hey, you got this great view here. Why don't you just do it
Looking
here?
around.
And
Why not?
so I have these lapel mics, and I was thinking, I wanted to try it with lapel mics. And so just in case I need to do this on the road or impromptu somewhere, and so this is the test.
Or from the Eagle's Nest.
Or from the Eagle's Nest, yes. And it's a little bigger, and the studio is a little more for 2 people. But, hey, we're all here, we all fit.
Yeah.
So, John Johnson, everybody.
Yeah, without
Excited.
further ado,
Excited
let's
to be
introduce our
here.
guest, John Johnson.
And, of course, Brian's joining us again. He was a guest on the first episode.
First episode ever.
And had to come back.
Two for two.
You're going to be a Trivia Pursuit card question someday.
Oh, man, I
Who was
can
the
only be
first
so
ever
lucky.
guest on Chasom Was Here?
So,
You.
without further ado, John Johnson, comedian. And please add in anything that I miss, because there's so many things. So, a comedian. I saw you at the Irvine Improv, actually. Fantastic show. I've seen you multiple times, obviously, but you also you're in the water business.
Slang and water.
Slang and water. You are the founder of Top Gun Drone Pilots,
Top Gun Drone Pilots. It's on the hat.
and then a good friend of mine. And what did I miss?
Wedding DJ world.
Oh, wedding. Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of let that that's back burner, but that's always a deep love in my heart. But that was the fourth world that I narrowed my worlds down to.
Okay. So,
For now.
well, and interesting that you mentioned weddings, because one of the first things that we got to talk about. So, welcome, John. Okay. But one of the first things we have to talk
I
about.
like to applaud myself when I do interviews.
Okay, that's enough applauding.
Yep.
Thank you.
So, one of the first things we need to talk about is some of the feedback that we got from the first podcast. So, episode 1, hey, it went off. It's out there in the ether.
Definitely happened.
It's definitely
It's a
there.
podcast.
And,
a podcast occurred.
And some good news. So, obviously, we uploaded it to YouTube. That's where most people saw it. But it also now is up on iTunes and Stitcher and SoundCloud and basically all the chases where you get a podcast.
Chasom was there.
Chasom was there.
Is there now?
Is there now.
Chasom is currently there.
So this episode will be the same, and we cannot go any further without giving a big thumbs up to Josh,
Yes.
the man behind the scenes.
Just out of frame, but he is
But he's right there.
right here in our hearts.
The myth, the legend.
Yep.
So we are very much here at the Eagle's Nest, which wasn't the plan, like I said. So we're going to see how this goes, and now let's get back to the feedback from the first one. Okay. So you were there.
I was there, but I'm interested to hear how you went from there's something wedding related here, because you said, speaking of weddings, I can't wait to get to our feedback.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, speaking of weddings, so it ties the two together.
Please.
Is somebody suggested that you should have. So there were suggestions, and then there was feedback on all the stuff we totally screwed up.
Yeah.
So somebody suggested, you should have a running theme, like you ask the same questions, or you with your guest. So you said weddings, and that just made me think, oh, well, we did talk about weddings a little bit. So just to have a question that we're going to ask, we may be asking, we may do this a couple different questions, we'll see. But what is your thought on weddings? Are you for them or against them, and why?
Just my general thought on weddings?
Yeah, you can be indifferent, we can move on, but it's like we were on the side of, we hate going to weddings. But you might be somebody who's like, weddings are a ray of sunshine every time I go.
This is not that we're anti-love or anti-marriage per se. It's great for the people whose wedding it is. But as a participant, there's a lot of pressure put on us, is what our stance was. I think we came to a common ground on that.
Yeah, we explored it. We just want your opinion on it.
Yes.
I think they're lovely days for the bride. And the groom mainly just like puts up with it because it's the bride's special day. And it's
so you're kind of indifferent on it.
Well, let me ask you this though: is that a little too rooted in old archetypes? Can we now see
how did that become that
groomzillas?
way?
Are you seeing now more grooms? I think I know one particular person that's a friend of mine who might be a potential groomzilla at his future wedding. Is it now equal opportunity for both the bride and groom to freak out on their special day, in your experience?
No, it's all about the bride freaking out for the most part of my experience. And the guide is just there because the bride wants. So when did this occur? Like 600, 700, 1,000 years? I think it used to be guys had like 700 wives, right? When did suddenly this one special day of I'm claiming this man, he's putting a ring on my finger?
I think it's more like a snowball rolling downhill. We picked up traditions. We picked up the ring thing over time. We picked up the garter over time. We picked up the first dance over time. I don't think that there was one day that some guy got really drunk and said, you know what? Here, hold on. I'm writing the entire script for how all weddings will go from here to eternity. I think it's something that somebody went to one wedding and they did the garter, and everyone's like, you know what? At my wedding, I'm gonna do the garter thing too. And then somebody else said, you know what? I really love my dad, so I'm gonna have some bride said, I really love my dad, so I'm gonna have the last dance with my dad right after the first dance. I forget the order, but it's like right after the first dance with my husband. And then people attended that wedding and said, you know, that's really sweet. That's really awesome. I don't have a great relationship with my dad, but you know what? I think I want that in my wedding too. And I think that over time, we've just accumulated this gauntlet of all these different events, like it's a state fair, and then like here's the balloon toss over here, and then here's the ring toss over here, and now we are where we are.
Yeah, well, it must have started a while back, because if you go, like, it branched off like a tree. Evolution took on 2350 BC. Thank you. Look at Josh.
Josh, wow. Oh, I'm so proud of you right now.
2350 BC was the first wedding.
Right around that time, first recorded evidence of wedding between one man and one woman.
Wow. Okay, right, the first monogamous.
Let me pause at this, because at some point it became very beneficial for the father of the bride to gain extra land or property, because
dowry.
Then there was the invention of the veil. The ultimate, what's behind door number one, you never found out until the moment you walk down the aisle. There's the moment
you're going to be betrayed.
I don't know what my bride is going to look like. And let's see how we did. And they pop it up. Oh my God, he picked the best looking of his daughters. Yeah. Good for me. And that was it.
But imagine, sometimes it was not the best looking.
Yeah, you got the medium one, it's Agatha. I thought it was going to be Tabitha.
That's
sometimes you got.
Looks like we're doing this. Like, okay.
Morgantha.
Yeah.
Like, you
got seventh in line. Like, he obviously didn't think much of you, but
yeah, you were.
Now you got to give him your tract of land.
So those are your thoughts on weddings. Got it.
So this is a wedding themed podcast.
We're going down the wrong. Okay. So that one is not going to be the reoccurring question.
Well, look, seriously, an overall wedding theme where we discuss a different wedding-related item. I did not have that on my bingo card.
No, yeah, okay. So we're stopping that one in its tracks. Okay, I think we got the feeling of weddings. Yeah. We'll have to figure out. So thank you for the suggestion. Because we're doing it at the Eagle's Nest, we got some issues here. So there is going to be some cars that drive by.
Some chatter.
Hey, it's in a high rise. What do you want to see?
Police sirens go by.
Give me the laser.
Yeah. And so, what I do is I laser people who drive by and rev their engines in the middle of the night. Oh, I have this really powerful laser. And I tag them. You see them stop and all this stuff. Oh, yeah. If you get hit by a green laser when you're revving your engine somewhere in the middle of the night, Chasom was here. No, so one of the feedbacks that I got was that we initially did a good job of talking about something, and then before moving on, we would finish up that topic.
We've already blown that.
Yeah, we've already blown. Yeah. We're already screwed up. I should have gone over this feedback with you guys before we started.
Yeah, that would have been.
You wanted to save it for the podcast, and now we are going to get the same note again.
Yeah. So we're going to get the same note again, but now we're going over it, and there's proof that we've had this discussion. So
I guess that's something. Yeah.
Okay, so good points. In the beginning of the podcast, we did well, but later in the podcast, there was a couple things that we dropped.
We didn't circle back.
Yeah, so we got to make sure that we put a bow on any topic that may come up. Okay. Also, starting from the top, we did not introduce anything really.
That didn't occur in this one either. Again, we started talking about weddings.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a deal with our audience right now.
We're not rehashing the Iceland story.
No, we're not doing it. No Iceland. We're not talking anything Iceland. So we will introduce you at some point, and then at some point we'll introduce me in this podcast.
This one.
It's happening.
No. In this podcast, it's going to happen.
Okay.
Chasom introduction.
Okay. So, but we got to get through this feedback. We got to get back on task. So we did upgrade our system to a, Josh, what's the system we have now? Rodecaster Pro. It was recommended by Dylan, who we talked about before.
I don't believe you unless you play the rim shot. So happy right now.
I can't believe we did that. I did not. I don't want that. I don't want that to become a thing. Okay, so lighting. So we'll watch this one, and then we'll see if the lighting was about right. Maybe it will be brighter. It probably does need to be brighter in both, but I kind of like the dim. I kind of like the
For the record, lighting. There is a big-ass bright light right behind this camera that could be turned on at any moment.
It was. We tried it. It was a little too bright. We're showing a little too much.
Okay, we're getting a little.
When you've got this face,
we're a little inside baseball here, but it would have shown up as a reflection in the glass, and we're sparing you
possible reflection in the glass.
And that's what we didn't want because we're professionals.
Yeah.
All right.
Could have hit it.
Obviously
hit it.
Okay. Here. So I think we upgraded here because at the studio, at least as of right now, and this was some of the feedback. There wasn't any art on the wall. People wanted some art on the wall or something in the background. How about a whole beautiful view?
Thank you, John Johnson.
That's pretty good.
Idea. That was a wonderful idea, John Johnson.
City lights view, guys.
Yeah. So good feedback. So we have some art that is going on the walls at the studio. We need to finish the topic and then move on because that's what the audience demands of it.
Yeah.
They gave us feedback. And we accept feedback.
And we listen.
Ed Chasom was here. And we listen.
Well, we're not talking over.
This is your show. So if you were the one who gave the feedback and it got better, that's on you. If you're the one who gave us feedback and it got worse, that's on you too.
Yeah.
I'm with you. 1,000%.
So, some angles of the cameras.
We're trying that out.
Yeah, so we're trying that out. A totally new setup. So now, and we even added an angle. Just saying. Whoa. We added an angle. We had a person and an angle.
Oh my God. I think we're growing too fast.
So angles and cameras got check. Okay. And I apologize because this was my bad on the last podcast, but the audio in the second half of the podcast was a little muffled when I was talking. And I know exactly why I did it. I moved that damn microphone too close to my face.
It's not like a live show. Live show, you want to be like, bam, you want the power of that, bam. But yeah, podcast, you got to be a few inches away.
Yeah, no, and you know, we kind of have an interesting situation going on here with the lapel mics. So we all got to kind of keep our chin down to make sure that we're getting a good signal. But so we haven't tried the lapel mics before. This is for the road show, so we'll kind of see how this goes. But in the
chin down.
John, you're right, because I'm used to like performing live and just having the microphone literally like touching my lips.
We'll get to that later.
Okay, get to that later. But that's why I did that. So then when I'm halfway through, stupid Chasom moves the mic right up to like that, and then it was just really muffled. So my bad. So thank you for the feedback, everyone.
Keep it coming.
Keep it coming. This is in the suggestion realm, but we need to have reoccurring themes because they like having reoccurring themes in it. So maybe some certain questions, like the same questions that we ask the guest. One suggestion,
like inside the actor's studio.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, but inside Chasom was here.
Well, so one of the questions that was suggested, so we can try it, I guess, is what was the last thing you Googled? Or it could be, what is something you Googled recently that says something about yourself?
That's a good jumping off point, but we're not gonna do other people's.
What is Juneteenth? What is Juneteenth? Is the last thing I could, because it is Juneteenth.
Oh,
we're not getting into it. But what is Juneteenth? Is the last thing.
Oh no, gosh, John. Oh, especially this Juneteenth.
Juneteenth's going down right now.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, here we go. Okay, well, did you learn what Juneteenth was?
I did sort of, and what you can learn when you Google it and look at the first thing in 10 seconds.
Well, do tell.
According to what Google told me in the first 10 seconds, I believe it was like the last day that the last general came in and freed the last group of slaves who found out they were freed that day. It's like the last, according to the holiday. This is it. You're freed. I'm sure that was not just an instant process.
Yeah, so
it's not easy. It wasn't just like, oh, hey, cool, come on over here. Can I help you out? It was. I'm sure it was a.
I wonder how that conversation went.
You're bringing up some major things here.
So so now we all know what Juneteenth is. So it did happen in Texas, right?
Yes.
It did happen in Texas, and it was because the Emancipation Proclamation happened. The Civil War had ended, and there was because they didn't have the internet then, and so
you didn't just do a Facebook post and everybody knew about it 10 seconds.
They weren't getting texts, and so they didn't check their Facebook. Facebook didn't even exist then.
And it's not like the slave owners were going to just be forthcoming with this information.
You tell me there was a time in this history of this world where Facebook did not exist?
Somehow. You were there. Remember not having Facebook?
I blocked that from my memory. I don't remember that, sir.
So
anyway, it took some convincing on the behalf of the slave owners to actually pass along the memo.
They did, but the good news is they got the word.
Yep.
And on Juneteenth, and that's why we celebrate Juneteenth.
So
cheers to Juneteenth.
What's the date?
We raise our glass.
Cheers. I want to know that date.
June 19th.
What's the date from when they were freed to June 19th? How long was that?
2.5 years. 2.5 years.
Bullshit.
Well, there was a whole war.
I just want to say
they were emancipated by the Emancipation Proclamation.
Okay, that was bullshit.
Well, I mean, there was a whole war. We fought a war because it was bullshit.
Yeah. Can you imagine being that news gatherer that was like, "Hey, the slaves are free."
Like, anybody want to tell them?
It was received in one note. It was just like, burn that note.
That's just got to be.
How do you not? It's horrible.
It's an awkward conversation right? for a horrible.
We have to start having those awkward conversations, though.
Well, obviously they did, but it's like, hey guys. Well, you know what? They were probably when they first got the news, they were probably pretty happy about it. Like, hey, if
the understatement of the year.
Yeah. No,
because they were just kind of on their own. Whereas before they had food, they at least had shelter and food and stuff. Now it was just like,
they meaning that there was it was playing out across the entire South. Everywhere where there were slave owners, some slave owners were actually turning them into employees, and there was a tenuous relationship. Like, okay, well, you're still going to live here. I'm going to pay you. I'm going to charge you some rent. Some take that back. But you're free to go anytime you want. And so they would form your own communities. And so there were some slaves that were just like they pieced out, and some slaves stayed and became sharecroppers. And so, yeah, there was. I was just watching it. It was a great short film I was watching today on Juneteenth, and it was basically that the liberation of the slaves led to the restoration period of the South, which is already destroyed because of the war. It lost however many tens of thousands of soldiers, and of course they lost their free labor. So. At that point, there was a lot of animosity, and that's what gave birth to the Ku Klux Klan and Jim Crow laws, and after that, and there were violent uprisings, where they would rebel, and they would just try to keep African Americans down, stifle their right to vote, things like that, and there was just this period of brutality which has lasted through to today. Now, of course, there have been civil rights laws. There have been amendments to the Constitution, which were supposed to guarantee their right to vote, and all the other rights that their citizenship, for example. And I'm butchering all of the facts, but I would just say that Juneteenth is a day worth celebrating. It was not. It was not as simple as flicking off the light switch of slavery, and all of the racial.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that first time living in that first time period, the first decade, that first 20 years. Like,
yeah, I mean,
it's so crazy. There was slaves allowed, and then there was a time when slavery not allowed.
And in the hearts and minds of a lot of slave owners,
and everybody's like looking at each other.
That time period.
Yeah, I mean, in the hearts and minds of a lot of slave owners, they would never let go of it. Their children wouldn't let go of it, and their children's children wouldn't let go of that innate superiority over, a race of people, which is wrong.
So crazy.
Imagine
living that way.
I can't.
But it was not that far from right now.
Right.
It was like really not that far ago. What are people 150 years from now going to think of our time period? Oh, how archaic were they with certain things?
Oh, they're going to... All the things that we think, every 150 years you could say that. Like, oh, you look back 150 years, and we're thinking, people, like, look how stupid they were.
Right now, we are on the wrong side of history, and we don't even know why. Like, we don't know what issue that doesn't even occur to us. Like, it's just going to be so commonplace to people 150 years from now. And we're like, wow, those ignorant people, they didn't even fuck plants. Yeah. Wow.
And
everybody knows you fuck plants.
And they talk with their mouths.
Ugh,
who does that?
Those fucking primitives.
Wait,
yeah.
We're not supposed to fuck plants now.
You've never heard of tree huggers? There's just the next evolution. Fuck plants.
So, the one thing I did actually, thank you, Brian, for.
You're welcome. I didn't know you were going to thank me for that.
And the one thing I learned the most of that is I definitely shouldn't ask John Johnson what Juneteenth was. Okay, so way back, because we don't leave a topic undone. Sure. So we already talked about the reoccurring themes. Oh, you know what? Because we were, and ironically we're drinking again, but because we were drinking some before, it was suggested that, hey, it might be interesting if your guest brings on a certain drink and explains why they like that drink. So, John, this was feedback. You hadn't gotten it yet. So, but it might be something interesting if the next guest, they bring a drink and they explain why that drink is special to them.
And then we would have to sample it, even if we don't like that particular type of drink. It's just like, here's our guest. He's bringing Merlot. I'm not a Merlot guy, but tell me about this Merlot. Yeah. Let's have a sip.
And why? What's the story?
Why should I give it?
Why did you choose that?
All right. This is a limited edition Scotch back when Game of Thrones was entering its 8th and final season. The makers of Game of Thrones licensed out all of the various. If you've seen Game of Thrones, there are various families involved, various houses, and so they licensed out all of these Scotch distilleries in Scotland. Each of them were to create a special Scotch whiskey for Game of Thrones that was limited edition, and they would be associated and packaged as one of the houses. Now, this is House Baratheon. I actually bought 6 different Scotches for 6 of my friends, and I hate to say it, but we were actually drinking one of the Scotch. This is a gift.
Oh, let's say whose it is.
This is for Aaron.
Aaron, thank you, Aaron. Hey, cheers! Thanks, Aaron.
Cheers! Thank you, Aaron.
Now, Aaron lives in Arizona, and before that, he was stationed overseas, and so I held on to the Scotch.
Thank you for your service.
So in your
service, Aaron.
Thank you for your service, Aaron.
Thank you for your.
And I'm sorry
we're
drinking your Scotch, but it is tasty. I will tell you that the Scotch associated with House Lannister that I gifted to Chasom, and he graciously let me, open up and serve almost immediately upon gifting it to him, was probably the worst alcohol I've ever had in my life. It was so smoky. They talk about a smoky flavor. When you poured it, and then you took a little aroma of it. It was like when you walk through a Vegas casino at 2:00 in the afternoon. It was so smoky. It smelled like you would drink it.
Nasal.
And it smelled like tobacco.
That's because the Lannisters were torched by the frickin' dragons. That's why.
I mean, I don't want to Game of Thrones spoilers here, but yes, I mean, he's not.
You're staying in the theme. Okay, you're kind of selling me on it, John, because it wasn't very good. But now, if I know why it's not very good.
It's appropriate.
It's like, okay, I kind of get it.
All
right, so this is the Royal Lochnagar. I'm sorry for the Scottish friends of the podcast.
All right,
okay, we're gonna edit that out.
And there's another edit. There we go.
We're gonna. Nope, it's a Lochnagar, and that's all we're gonna say.
Okay, some good feedback. They said the flow was good. Hey, we got flow for days. So, hey, we were flowing.
Might have taken 2 steps forward, 1 step back on that, but I'll take it.
You had different surroundings.
Different strokes?
Little known fact, when you register a drone, each one you can label it a name. And the second drone I ever had, I named it Flo, F-L-O.
Oh, well, it's the first name you named.
All right, we're going to go back to the feedback.
Okay. So
Wally. Wally was the first one.
Okay, so Wally and Flo.
Remember the movie
Wally?
Wally?
Yeah, I do.
Because it looked, the drone I had was a Phantom 4. It looked like Wally a little bit. And Wally was the first name.
Okay, it seems appropriate.
My third name, you know what I named him? I named him Jesus. Every time it lands, I go, thank you, Jesus.
Is that the one you have now?
That's the current one, yeah. His official registered name with the FAA is Jesus. That's the name.
You're the only one. You got to have Moses and get all the good. If you're a drone pilot, get all the good drone names now because they're going to be taken up. It's like going back to the beginning of the internet and getting a website. Yeah. Once it's gone.
No, I think the registration process, you get a unique number, but I think you can name it whatever you want.
Oh, so there could be 2 Jesuses.
There could be
a lot of Jesuses.
All right, forget it.
I doubt it. I
take that back.
bet I'm the only one that registered their drone name on the FAA site and the first people that have been doing it since 2020. It's possible I'm the only person that named his drone.
Yeah, that's.
I would like to know that I'm not, though. Maybe.
Well,
will someone from the FAA please contact the show and let me know how many Jesus named FAA registered?
Actually, correction. Don't contact the show about that. Contact John Johnson. I don't want to deal with
contact the show.
Some email from the FAA.
Chasom was here first, and then. Attention, John Johnson. Contact them first.
Yeah, we'll just route that straight to
it would be promptly forwarded.
Yep.
So it's John. I'll give it to you. It's a good name. So, but it's not as cool as whoever has Jesus.com because it's what do they get? They can get Jesus.net, but it's not as.
Or
If you got Jesus, I wonder what's on Jesus.com.
.org, yeah.
You can be like
Josh.
T-shirt. You can be Jesus. Anything now. You can customize your dot. That's the new thing.
Yeah, but I
That's
don't
the
know.
new wave. You don't have to be. But it just doesn't feel right if it's not .com.
No, I know. Isn't that weird though?
Even .net is like, get out of here with your .net ghetto.
What's
bullshit.
.us? Oh, in other countries.
I see a .us. I'm like, oh, that's a
fail.
yeah, right? Epic fail with your website. .us.
Oh,
That is
whoa.
Jesus.com redirects you to mccchurch.org.
Oh, okay. mccchurch.org.
Whoever was that genius nerd at that place 25 years ago that was like, Jesus.com.
One church is getting all the Jesus.
Hey guys, there's this new site called GoDaddy. It's $19.99. Like Jesus.com's available. Should I buy it?
They're like, what are you gonna do with that?
Who's never gonna go?
Well, just have a picture of Jesus on.
Yeah, Jesus.
Hey, it's right. Now he's got Jesus.com.
Jesus.com.
And then that church probably that. Oh man.
What happens when you go to that site? Gift from the gods, Josh.
No, he just said it reroutes you to that church.
Website.
Yep.
So
that was smart.
We don't want to give any more free
Oh, yeah.
advertising.
I would say we do. Because
I'm
they had
not
the foresight to be Jesus.com 25 years ago. They deserve that.
That one church is like the gutters on the bowling lane. They're catching all of the lazy. I'm just gonna give my money to Jesus.com.
But as a church, they would love that. They would love that. They are doing that.
Go right to mcc.org.
Good
job.
What's another crazy.com that like who owns bowling.com?
Insert any
Baseball.com.
one-word noun. Like it's probably very like
Videocameras.com.
Whitehouse.com, right? Back in the day, wasn't that a pornography website?
Whitehouse.com was a porn.
Whitehouse.com.
Josh, how do you know though? How do you know?
How would you know that? How would you know that fact? That's a very
okay. So in his defense, he was in high school, and
so he was jerking off a lot.
he wanted to sign up to do his civic duty.
I'm gonna see if it's still alive.
Oh yeah, okay, Dad, let us know what's on whitehouse.com.
Brown cow, it's the White House.
Okay. So we're back because we don't digress too far without finishing it. Actually, good news. Oh, there was one more good feedback.
All right, then we can close the door on feedback and actually introduce John Johnson.
Yeah. We're not there though.
We haven't gotten the introduction yet.
No, yeah.
We're gonna get so much.
No, we don't do we don't do introductions yet.
Okay.
Whitehouse.com. No good. They went under. They didn't have a good product, apparently. So, the final tidbit of feedback, and this is positive feedback.
Hey. Best for last.
And this one warmed my heart a little bit. Because they said they liked the decor. And I was like...
Oh, what?
Well, because the reason why that one...
It was professional.
Yeah, well, professional, but... I like to think
like a curated section
of
art.
Like you see if you're watching the video right now, like, hey, we got some statues here, we got a dragon, we have this guy, which is a piece of wood. Sorry for those of you that can't see it on YouTube right now, or if you're just listening. But long story short is I have all these little pieces of art that I've collected from all around the world. Although a couple of these on the table are gifts. Actually, 3. The barrel.
We got to talk about the dragon thing. Where did you get the dragon thing?
That was a gift. It was a gift for my last birthday. And it sat on the bar over there for a while because I didn't want to drink from it because it was so cool that it was a dragon with a bunch of...
Did it come with whiskey in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did. We just somehow somebody drank some of the whiskey. I don't know what happened, but
it's meant to be enjoyed.
Yeah, no. And it's actually actually pretty good whiskey. The trick is you put a lime in it. And it makes it perfect.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, if they liked the decor last time, knock your socks off.
Yeah, hey guys, you're probably your eyes are just on fire right now.
We've got the city of Long Beach and all of its
barrel
here. We've got the denizens of the hood down there, all running in fear from the police.
Denizens of the hood,
right in the background. That's just the backdrop for all the scintillating conversation that's going to happen here.
What's going on right now?
Not only that, we've got some beautiful pink lighting.
The pink lighting, and we have a barrel. Just like you pointed out, John.
Apropos of nothing.
That was a gift too. Thank you, Richard. Richard, you're the man. I
Your
appreciate
podcast doesn't have a barrel? Sorry.
I haven't seen a podcast with a barrel.
I'm emotional about barrels sometimes.
Okay. So to recap, first, Chasom was here. Appreciates that you gave feedback, and we listen. We hear you.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. Yeah, there's probably an avalanche of feedback that's going to be coming through on this podcast. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
John
We're not afraid.
Johnson's
Yeah.
too
We're
good
not
looking.
afraid.
It's a
We're not
distraction from
not
the
trembling in fear.
the
Questionable
camera
guests.
angle and lighting.
We can take it.
questionable guests.
So, speaking of guests,
We haven't even introduced
we
yet.
have not even introduced the guests.
Here we go.
Hey,
But-
can we let a cat out of bag? The guests that you have on this show, interesting people. That's
Yeah,
what we have.
yeah, and-
interesting people.
And to introduce the show,
You got to establish that.
they introduced the show a little bit. The reason why I wanted to have the show is because, and I touched on this a little bit, but we hear your feedback. We didn't introduce it enough. What I wanted is to have a show where I can have interesting guests. Because how many people do you know that are founded Top Gun drone pilots?
Only one.
Only one is in some. You're not gonna like me saying this. There's some water pyramid scheme, which you could tell us all about.
Pyramid scheme.
And then
Sharing.
a stand-up comic who's done it professionally.
Fairly successful. Have I not put on some very successful?
Oh no,
shows?
John.
Let the man introduce
That's
you, John
successful.
Johnson.
That's why you're on the show, is because you've done things that are impressive. Look,
At least
look,
D-level.
I
At
could
least a D-level.
I could promise you, what's not going to be on the show is some damn hacks. So there's not going to be anybody who hasn't accomplished shit in their life. Like we got no room for that here.
Wow. How did I get on the show?
Well, hey,
You don't think there was a
Hey,
reason you
I'm a
were the
limbo
first
writer and
you-
those guidelines. I'm a writer.
you're a writer.
person
I write on a
ever
daily basis.
to be on the Chasom Was Here podcast?
That's
Yeah.
an accomplishment in and of itself.
You were the first one on Chasom Was Here. That you
that
should
not
be
already
on
on
the
your
show
Wikipedia?
for being the first one on the show.
That should be in your Wikipedia.
I
right?
should get a Wikipedia page just for that.
There you go.
Yep.
So
You're blowing my mind right
yeah,
now.
John.
He
Hey,
doesn't already have a
John.
Wikipedia
But
page.
you should have a big. You should get a shirt with a big 2 on it, and then everyone will ask you, and you'll be like, "I was on the second episode of Jason Was Here." Hey, that's two.
So let me be your hype man for a second.
Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen.
please. Let everybody know they've been asking.
All right. So Chasom is a self-made man who is an entrepreneur in many different spaces we're not even going to talk about.
Well, we could talk. I'm in cannabis.
He's in cannabis. He is a musician. He is a stockbroker, licensed.
I was.
Preach.
My license lapsed a
All right,
few years ago. But
I'm going to introduce
sorry.
him. He knows a thing or two about a thing or two, and he can day trade like you wouldn't believe.
How do you introduce Chasom?
Well, I'm trying
Chasom
to.
That's probably why it didn't happen.
First name Chasom, last name Rad.
That's right.
That's all you need to know.
All right.
So
So he's a self-made man. He's an artist. He's an entrepreneur. He's a Renaissance man.
Renaissance man.
One would even say he is a transformer. Jesus.
it's like the third introduction on my own.
Yeah.
I'm a podcaster.
As of last week.
So we've introduced you.
Yeah.
We've introduced me, the podcast. Brian had somewhat of an introduction.
nobody cares.
I mean, it hasn't been a full introduction. You were a high school football quarterback star.
I
That's
was.
what people need to know about
I'm
you.
in the Hall of
That's
Fame.
he was in high school. Chasom was the quarterback stud star quarterback.
I feel like this is my
Right?
Al Bundy moment.
You lived that moment.
I don't know if I was the stud. I did get in the Hall of Fame at my high school. So if you go there, like every once in a while, somebody will be at my old high school and,
were you the
and
starting
see me on the wall.
Were you the starting varsity quarterback for what high school?
Marina High School.
In Huntington Beach,
In Huntington
California.
Beach, California.
You were the starter. There was no one in front of you that started games. Your senior
Yeah,
year.
you know, it got kind of weird. So I started my junior year, actually.
Okay.
And then I broke.
Then you were too cool.
I broke my
That's
shoulder.
how cool Chasom is. He got too cool for football. No, sorry.
No, I didn't get too cool for football. I will say this about football. I played it my whole life. And actually, I still play it like a flag football league, even now on the beach. I love it. It's so fun. But I was done. I remember on my last game of football in high school, because I was offered a scholarship to go play football. And I wasn't like a D1 school or anything, but I was offered a scholarship to go play football. And then there was a couple of colleges that were recruiting me to a degree. Nothing crazy. Like nothing crazy.
You don't want to name the school that you were.
What does nothing crazy mean? Like
I don't know.
Like a year and a half.
I don't know. It's the cliche stuff where you have like the stack of things. But there was people on the team that probably got way more than I did. I was probably a decent to good player on the team. I did get inducted in the Hall of Fame in my high school. But I think there was some really good guys on that team that were probably better than I was.
But to also be a great musician, guitar player in a band, all these other things,
well,
that's what makes him a renaissance. That's why people say, because most people, they're the quarterback, that's their story. Chasom, that was like one of, it was like one of the things that you did.
It was one of the things I did. But the interesting thing was that I remember on my last game of my senior year, and you're thinking like, well, what am I going to do? And am I going to keep playing football? And I remember during the game, I was done with football. It was like I never had that moment before, and I didn't have to have it since. But I remember being on the field. It was playing Edison High School. It was the last game of the year. And all I kept thinking was, I do not want to be here. All I want to do is go make some music. And at the time, I actually got recruited
There's
to go.
There's like 4 coaches yelling at you, Brown, get on that field and win us this game.
Yeah, something like that. It was. I just remember being on the field, and then it was like I was just done. I had done it since I was a little kid, and then in between playing street football, all that stuff, and I just was so done. I wanted to go play paintball. So actually I was being recruited to be I was a professional paintball player.
Professional paintball player.
I was. There's not many things that I'll say I'm really good at, but paintball, I'm really good at. And so, anyway, but this was back in the day. Like I watch them now, and they're like way crazy. But yeah, I just happened to be in this. I won amateur tournament, and I played. I was in high school, and me and my buddies would play and things like that. And we would just go because we wanted to get more serious about it, I guess. And I did really well. And I remember a team was like, "Hey, do you want to join our team?" I didn't know there was teams or anything like that. And all I remember during the football game was I was like, "Yeah, I'm done. I'm done with football. I don't want to do this anymore."
Oh, you're lucky.
I've got paintball.
That moment of clarity.
Me up.
It was my Al Bundy moment. I had whatever minor things.
How many touchdowns did you personally throw for, or were you ran in one game?
No, yeah, you know what?
Did you ever have 4 touchdown game like Al Bundy?
I had a 3 and then 325 yards. That was my big game. I remember only because I was in the paper. And then it was a 3 touchdown game. It was against St. John Bosco.
Did you hand off a lot to a good running back?
I had a couple of good running backs, but we didn't win very much. So maybe that should be part of the story. Is overall, even though there was some good players on the team, as a team, we didn't win very much. And I feel like our coach wasn't very good, and so it was just looking back on it, he was a really nice guy, but it's just it was a lot of nice. Whatever, it's high school football. Who cares, right?
Well, you know what? It's funny you should say that because
that was a big deal in high school. The quarterback of the team. That was a big deal. Do you realize that looking back? I was the quarterback of the
he
football
doesn't care. That's that's the whole point of the story.
It's cliche. I get it. I was
because that's why you're chasing.
Okay,
yeah.
John.
I think
Brian, you were saying.
I think it was really nice that you had that moment of clarity in the middle of your last game, that you were done, you were over it. Whereas a lot of your teammates, I'm sure, the people that you would say 15, 20 years later, you would say they peaked in high school. You didn't peak in high school, and your life wasn't about football, and you knew that, and you wanted to go out and do the shit that was important to you. And I think that was a gift that you had that moment because the people that peaked in high school, that last game would have been terrifying to them.
Hey,
because they were
was terrifying for me.
I love this. I don't want this to ever end. And you're looking at the
scoreboard. You're describing
scoreboard.
every moment of my last moment.
Well, let me describe it. You're looking at the scoreboard, and it gets to 3 minutes, and it gets to 2 minutes, and there's 2 minutes left in the greatest thing you will ever accomplish. And here comes you're on the last minute, and it's counting down, and you're sitting there like, this is it. It's over, and then the buzzer goes off. Whereas Chasom and Brian halfway through the game, you're like, I'm gonna be playing paintball. Fuck this. I'm done. At least you had that realization then.
Yeah, it was really good because I never regretted it.
Yeah,
it's like I think to your point is I never like I wish or yada yada yada. It was like no, I just had my run. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed like the friends I made and like the people I played with and the games we won and the stories we had and the games we lost and the bad seasons we had. It was like there was so much joy in that. And like I did it. It was good. It was a good chapter. Yeah, and I never even wanted to go back.
And instead of fearing it, you were cherishing it at that moment. Like, yeah, this is good. This is closure. And other people were like desperate to hang on to it. I forget what TV show it was on. And someone will probably correct me later, but there was a TV show that a character says, you never realize when the best years of your life are until they're behind you. And wouldn't it be great if you realized it when you were actually living it?
Yeah.
Like, and when I think back of the best times in my life, I really do think that at the time I was thinking, wow, this is pretty incredible. Like, when I think back to the great like trips I've taken with you, or like the moment that my son was born, I remember thinking each time I can look back, and I think I'm glad that in those moments I had those moments of clarity where I realized, but this is a really great time. This is a really great trip. I'm a really great version of myself right now.
That's so awesome that you got to experience that, especially when you're traveling or something like that, because a lot of times, and I see it in people, and I'm succumb to this sometimes, is you're so trying to capture the moment or get it on your phone.
Or milk it.
Yeah, and just like, you don't realize, like, there's times when I catch myself, like, I've taken too many pictures or posting too much or something in some beautiful, wonderful place. And I really have to like take my phone and just put it in my pocket and just go, I'm just going to not capture this moment. I'm just going to capture it up here.
Eyeballs.
Yeah. And this is for me in this moment right now. And people that I travel with, sometimes I'll see them doing that. And I try to like, look, just enjoy this.
Be present.
Yeah, be present. And
what's really strange is what's really good for that, but it's bad for your body is smoking. Smoking a cigarette.
Oh,
like when you are in the middle of Thailand, like I had quit smoking by then, but when you're in the middle of Thailand and you're looking over a beach or a beautiful Thai sunset, and you're like, I should light up a cigarette right now and smoke it down to the filter, and just the whole time be taking deep breaths, be taking it all in, all the nicotine, but like all of the scenery as well. And now I think that I have to fill that moment with plenty of deep breaths, but like plenty of just wide-eyed contemplation, taking it all in without the phone.
Yeah.
You can capture it with the phone, click, and put it away.
Yeah.
And then just like be with the people that you're with, like put your arm around them and be like, look at this shit.
And that's interesting that you say the people that you're with, because it's always the people, never the place. It's every trip that I've been on, and there's so many great places in the world, but the best ones are when you're with somebody that you're just connected to, and you're just like, and you're sharing it with them. Mm-hmm. It's exponentially better when you're with somebody that you're connected to in whatever way you're connected to them, and you're just like, that's the memory. Because you have that, because you bring that back. Like, if you're there by yourself, what are you going to go say? Oh, I saw a beautiful canyon. Like,
yeah.
Nobody knows what you're talking about. They'll think, oh, the Grand Canyon or whatever, great story. But whenever we get to shoot, we've done it on this podcast a couple times already. And John, I've been on trips with you where it's just like, oh man, remember when we did that, or remember when we did that? It's like, because we can reminisce about it, and it takes us back there. And you know what I'm talking about. You know what I saw.
Yeah, I've talked to you about this before. The need for a witness. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a whole, like in Mad Max Fury Road, there's like a whole thing where like when people are about to sacrifice their lives, and they're like the slaves, but they're like the slaves to like the big bad guy. They always like look at another one of the henchmen. And they're like, witness me, I'm about to do something. And then they go like, I'm going to go Valhalla, witness me. And I think that we have a mutual friend, who likes to travel by themselves and likes to post with the hashtag real adventurers go in alone, right? Mm-hmm. And I do see the appeal. Like, I didn't before, but I do see the appeal of knowing that this is just for me.
Yeah,
you know,
I get it.
And I also have had great times despite the people I was with. Mm-hmm. Like being in on that same trip to Thailand, being in a group of 7 people who couldn't agree on anything. And some people one person was somebody's sister, but was also somebody's girlfriend. And then another person was somebody's best friend, but was also somebody's boyfriend. And like there were competing loyalties, and then there was a couple that was always fighting, and then like leaving each other in the middle of a crowded market, and it was chaos. But like I had a great time despite like where you find for yourself, you carve out moments of like zen in the middle of chaos. So I think that it is possible to have fun despite the people that you're with, or even if you're with nobody at all. But I do agree with you that the best
You're saying the most special times you've had were with somebody.
Yeah.
Romantic.
No, not necessarily romantic.
Or sometimes it could be a family member or something.
All the above. Like I've had some, the best date I've ever been on was with my grandma. Like my grandma lives in Vegas. One of my grandmas. And I have 2 awesome grandmas, by the way.
Really? Can I have her phone number?
No,
date,
you cannot. You cannot.
Date?
You're not going to be. Yeah, the best date.
Did she put out?
Hold on.
Hey, gentleman never tells.
Okay.
But
I'll take those digits.
No, like the date, because like she's in Vegas. So when I go to Vegas, I always try to connect with her, and sometimes we get to go out and like we'll go out to dinner or something like that. And it's just sometimes it's just her and I. Sometimes my aunt comes, things like that. But it's like, it was just being with her. It's like, Vegas is Vegas, so maybe that's not a good example. But it's like, Vegas was 100 times better than Vegas normally is. And Vegas is pretty awesome sometimes. Mm-hmm. But because my grandmother was there and we were connected, like I was saying. So, yes, and then all the other places, who are you going to share it with? Although I will say, never travel with fucking 7 people. That's for sure. I'm never doing that again.
Yeah.
Never doing that again.
Words of wisdom.
Like,
never travel with 7 people.
And you know what the funny thing is Josh, my brother, was on that trip. And when we went off on our adventure on our own, wasn't that the coolest day?
Yeah, I went on a couple of days with Josh by ourselves.
Yeah.
Because you were busy taking care of your duties to your other relationships as well. And so then Josh was like, well, my brother's not here. I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, I'm best friends with Chasom. He's off doing whatever. Or you got sick with mango and sticky rice.
Well, yeah, whatever that
one
was.
Day. Like so I went hung out with the woman you were dating at the time, and we had a great ass time. I went out and had a full day with Josh, had a great time. I barely knew the guy, but we bonded over that experience. I wouldn't say that we were necessarily connected.
Were you like alone on your toilet the whole time, or what?
No, it was really weird. Like I know exactly what it was that got me sick. That's weird when you know what got you sick, but it was mango sticky rice. But the mango sticky rice was fine, but they had this cream sauce on it.
I really want you to dig into this story because I was literally just telling this story to my wife
Really?
2 days ago. We were watching a show.
No, well, why don't you tell the story? If you were just, I want to see someone else's
mango
version of,
sauce,
of the hell that I went through in
Mango
Thailand
sticky
from
rice,
damn
cream
mango
sauce.
sticky rice.
All right, so here's the context. I was watching with my wife this show called Somebody Feed Phil. It's on Netflix, and it's just this guy.
That's the
like
real name of a show.
Yes.
Somebody Feed Phil.
Yes, it is, and it's great.
Oh yeah, actually, I watched an episode or two.
He's like this wide-eyed guy who's just got this passion for everything, and he's kind of a big goober, and he goes around to all these foreign countries and eats their food. And he's just like, and if something is like a local delicacy and he hates it, he'll tell you. He's like, oh God, this is awful. Like right in front of the person that prepared it. It's great. And so like, but he's just like this goofball guy. So we were watching the episode on Bangkok, right?
Yeah.
And he goes in and he gets mango sticky rice. He eats the mango sticky rice, and I turned to Sarah at the same time, and I go, the mango sticky rice. There was this time in Thailand with Chasom. We were in Phuket, Thailand. Great hotel, or so I thought. It looked like a luxury hotel.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of the place. If you know it, we'll put it in the subtitles later or something like that. Because it's a hotel that on its face, you walk in, you're like, wow, this is really nice.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
They trick you at that hotel.
And it's one of the things, like, when you get up to the room,
really nice.
it looks luxurious, and then you realize that they have installed the air conditioners in a really weird place in the wall so that it creates condensation on the floor. So when you get out of bed, the floor is all slippery, and you go, whoa, oh my God, and like you trip and fall.
Yeah, that's a good example. Like, it's just like, imagine like, okay, picture like this beautiful hotel with like a swimming pool running through the hotel,
like a lazy river.
A lazy river and swim up bars all in the hotel, and you're like, wow, this is beautiful here. And then you get up to your room and you're like, whoa, hardwood floors, like a good view, just a nice hotel room. And then like at some point, because of how they do the air conditioning, like the humidity in the room makes the whole floor like wet. And so you're like slipping and sliding everywhere.
I've never experienced before a hotel that looked so great, and then the actual experience of it was so terrible. Even though,
was it really just the wet floor thing?
No. It was just it was
the crux of the.
Well, we're about to get to the main event.
Yeah, the main thing and I'll just say is everything that looked great always had a subtle hidden reminder that you're still in Thailand.
You're in a third world country.
You're in a third world country.
Yeah.
Because like the shower was like this beautiful shower, and then you get in the shower and there's like mold at the top of the ceiling and like black mold, and you're just like, oh my gosh, that can't be good. And so or like a beautiful sink, and you grab the handle breaks off. It's just like they give you subtle reminders that you're still in Thailand.
So this hotel has a pool that is not only the centerpiece of the hotel, but it's really the thing to write home about. Which it has a pool area, but it has like a lazy river that goes around the middle. Like, so if the hotel was in an O shape, like the center of the O, so all of these rooms look in on the lazy river that goes around, and there are rooms that you can like walk outside your room, go onto the balcony, and then step 2 feet, and you can drop right into the lazy river and just go on this big circuit around the hotel. And it's beautiful, and it was fun to swim. And then what happened was there was a swim up bar that, of course, once we had checked in and we wanted to check the place out, that's where we all ended up. We all started drinking, and Chasom was so excited, seemingly, and he was really enjoying the hell out of this mango sticky rice. And he even said, I think he even said out loud,
ordered from the swim up bar.
Yeah.
Yep. And he said,
bad idea.
Wow, I've been waiting for this all day, is what he said. Like, he was so excited, and he dug into this mango sticky rice, and I don't know how soon after you ate it, you realized that there was a problem. But you identified,
an hour and a half.
Identified immediately that it was the mango sticky rice. Like, it wasn't like it was something that you ate earlier in the day. You were like, oh, it's that damn mango sticky rice.
Yeah, and somehow I just knew, because
you knew when you put that cream sauce in your mouth.
Was
part
it
of you in the back of
instantaneous?
your head was like, you should be doing this, and you were just like,
you know what, the mango sticky rice tasted good, but then the cream sauce was like
So I'm saying that
It had turned or something? Like you knew instantly?
And you just kept eating it. And you're like, I'm sure it's fine.
It's mango sticky rice. Who does?
And this place is really nice. I'm sure they wouldn't serve me crappy mango sticky rice.
Look, they got a pool around the whole hotel. They wouldn't give me bad mango sticky rice, would they?
All right, so
they did.
I've told my part of the story. Why don't you tell me what happened after?
I'll keep it short, but it basically my body at one point, because what we had left, we had went to started walking down the street right after I finished my mango sticky rice. We started walking down the street, and everybody was hungry, and so all I had was mango sticky rice. And okay, so we went and ate at an Indian restaurant. And if you ever go to Thailand, and actually, if you ever go, Indian food is great all around the world. In London and in Thailand, it's for some reason phenomenal. Anyway, sidebar.
Yes.
So we got to the Indian restaurant. We ordered food. I remember when we ordered the food, I was thinking, something doesn't feel right. Something, and it's not just the like your bowels thinking that. It wasn't just that. It was like my whole body decided
rejecting whatever.
It was completely rejecting it, and literally, so this is what you didn't get to see. Is
thank God.
Out of every possible hole in my entire body, it came out. I'm talking about my pores. I'm talking about my mouth.
You told me the story.
Yeah, out of every hole. I was like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I looked at myself, and like, it looked like I had like really bad like acne or something like that. I was like, what the hell is going on? Every pore in my whole body, everywhere, was like pushing everything out. And then of course I was throwing up and other things, and it was just like my body just said whatever that was. No, Chasom was not here.
Send it back.
Send it back immediately. It was the weirdest thing I've never. And then it was like a day of that, and then I was fine the next day. My body got it out.
That was the day we had to like return home. Like you were good for one last day.
Oh, yeah, that was a bummer.
Yeah, it was a bummer because I kept checking in on you. I was like, Jason, you think you might want to go out today?
I wanted to. I remember.
Like,
I was
my
like,
ears are puking.
But that is
man,
exactly. And that was not going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, wait. But the feedback.
Ooh.
Oh, the feedback.
We got through the feedback.
No, we did something. We have an untied lace here, and we need to tie it up. There's one story. John had mentioned a football story that you remember. It was like your last year or your last day. You had brought it up. Brian was talking. I made the note because we listen.
Let's circle back.
See, you were the starting stud quarterback. Did you know John Johnson was also a starting quarterback his senior year in high school?
I did know that.
Did you know I played quarterback and I started most of the games my senior year for the JV team.
Well, you were the senior. You were a senior.
I was given the. Why? See how you're laughing?
No.
Why are you laughing at me?
I'm thinking of something really funny.
F you. See, you were like every judgmental asshole. I wanted to play. I could have been the fourth string quarterback on varsity, or they allowed me to start JV as a
Were you
senior.
the only?
But I mean, obviously,
the only senior on JV.
If you performed really well that year, then they would have bumped you up to varsity the next year, right?
Yeah, you should have redshirted.
I was a senior.
Come on.
Should have redshirted your freshman year of high school.
No, that's not how
I played my freshman. I was defensive end my freshman year.
No,
you're allowed to play at JV as a senior.
Yeah.
But just most people don't choose to do it because it's embarrassing.
Like if the JV really needs a good quarterback, then they
started almost every freaking game. I got to experience.
Nobody can take that away from you, John.
There was hardly anyone there. There was no one in the stands. Our high school
they
team
were
was
waiting
pretty
for the
badass.
varsity game.
So our varsity team played at the local college.
Yeah.
That's how many people came out.
Yeah.
They needed a big
I
crowd.
did not get to participate in that day. I was the Thursday game Thursday Night Lights
But
was the JV quarterback.
But the JV needed you. They needed a
They
man of your
needed me.
talents. Yeah.
I know.
And I got to start most of the games in my senior year.
That's not nothing.
On the weekdays where you would wear your jersey, I had to wear the JV jersey.
Well, that was your team.
All the varsity guys had the nice silk ones. I had the JV basic jersey, but I still played high school football. I started games. I physically was tackled by people. I had to avoid. I had to throw.
Yeah.
I was the quarterback.
Okay.
I was the starting cohesive quarterback.
Okay. That's
It was
so
the
funny.
JV team. It was a JV team.
Forever, you've always said, like, we've had that bond. Like, I was quarterback too.
We were both quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah, cool.
I was a quarterback too.
I
We
didn't-
were in front of stadiums.
I didn't know.
on Friday Night
I
Lights.
didn't know.
I was in
It
front
was
of
you were the
12
senior
As a senior, I
On
was
the JV.
starting on the JV.
No, he was the starting
so
quarterback.
proud. Why are you guys all laughing at me?
I'm not laughing at you.
No, we're
laughing at
laughing.
me.
Just we're laughing at
It's just
you're a comedian.
Yeah.
What is
That's it, right?
What is there wrong in being a senior? And
No,
starting
hey,
on the JV team.
I'll give it to you. I would rather be.
Give me a
playing-
choice. Would you rather never start? I would have never played one game if
Yeah.
I chose the varsity
No,
route.
I get it.
I started almost every game and played in the physical game.
Of course, because you were older and
I wanted
taller
to
than
play.
You were the
everybody.
best.
You probably murdered everybody out there.
You were the best they could get.
Like that
the JV.
scene, in.
I did not murder everybody.
What's that Adam Sandler movie when he's playing dodgeball with the kids and you're just killing everybody? You probably scored like
Billy
50
Madison.
touchdowns.
Billy Madison just crushing on the dodgeball court.
Man.
No, I was not that good.
You probably set records and things like that.
I was like a Dan Marino. I was not mobile whatsoever.
I'm sure Dan Marino was also the
real
JV
accurate.
quarterback.
Well, you were Dan
Super
Marino
accurate.
if he was of 30
A high school
and
kid.
playing in college still. Then you were that version of Dan Marino.
Yeah.
In that scenario,
Almost exactly.
it's exactly like you.
All right, and congrats.
I don't
that's
get why
great.
it's so funny that
No,
a senior playing.
Because you're a
JV.
comedian.
Yeah, 'cause you're a comedian.
That was great. That was a bit, right?
Everything you say because you're a comedian is just funny.
Oh my God, this guy, John Johnson.
Truth.
JV
JV starting
Look,
quarterback.
I don't think we're going to top that. We need to wrap this up. This is, John Johnson, thank you for dropping in.
Hey, we learned something about John Johnson today.
starting quarterback, just like you, Chasom.
No one can
We
take
were
that away
both
from you,
starting
John.
quarterbacks our senior year.
Yeah, we
was
were.
just like
That
you.
is what you said to me when we had our quarterback bond.
And that was technically an accurate statement when you said it.
It was a factual, accurate statement.
Man, that
So
was.
thank you for being with us on Chasom Was Here, John Johnson.
Round of applause for John Johnson.
I'm Brian Clark. This is Chasom signing
Hey.
off.
Like the video, and Chasom is no longer here.
Jason's no
That's
longer
the
here.
end.
There you go.
Adios, everybody.
Peace.